we want to tell everybody, obviously, happy Easter. We hope you're able to, be able to reflect on some of the things we talked about today, even offering a new perspective. Thad, in the way that he thinks about it, I think is a really good new way to really reflect on Easter, actually, Thad. So thank you for that perspective. I want to remind everybody that we are going to be on the Get Canceled podcast every week. We stream live on Facebook for your viewing pleasure. It also goes to YouTube, and it does hit iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and maybe any other streamers out there. So search us up, Get Canceled Podcast. Go ahead and follow it.
I can't have the normal one because I keep breaking it.
I was going to say, yeah, yours is getting weird. Oh, because it gets wound up in there? Mine doesn't. I wonder why.
Well, it gets wound up in here, but it also gets like
I turn this a lot. I fidget with things.
I just want to make sure now that I've got you on live.
Are we on?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, nice.
Texting.
We're sitting here talking
It's just
on the live.
ripping
You've got your
ripping it.
Well, a good
you've
time
got your
about
trauma pillow, your text message open.
Oh, no, this is a trauma pillow.
Like everything's
Healing journey.
fine.
Healing journey.
Hashtag.
Hey, I almost took a picture of me running the other day, Brian. I almost tagged you and said healing journey.
You got to run with a pillow.
Got close. I would fight myself.
Be a new social media trend.
I would literally just be sweating so much, and I couldn't do it.
Dude, you are a wet napkin when you come back. We were in Vegas for that interview, but then the fights, and Thad comes back from running, and I would go to the gym, and then we, ironically, like 2 or 3 days, got done at the exact same time.
Yeah, we were like roughly within like 5 or 6 minutes of each other.
Which means you run forever.
Which means
Like I'd warm up,
5 or 6
stretch,
miles.
work out, get a protein shake, come back up, and then Thad's like done running. Yeah, he's just running everywhere.
Just grinding. Just grinding.
He looks like he was in full clothing, jumped into a pool, and then came back up to the room.
I do sweat. That is something.
You ever want to be convinced not to run? Just see Thad at the end of the run. He's like smiling, but you think something like you don't know why. You don't know if it's just everything mentally broke. Legs don't work. He looks like he fell into a pool.
Legs might not work. I'll just be honest about that. Some days it's like,
Doesn't have his glasses on, so he's like blinking and looking around. Doesn't
You know what is going on
really
that
you.
people are probably now talking about since we've been on here is I just heard that Zach Bryan canceled his showing tonight.
The weather.
That's kind of interesting. I
canceled
like
it
his
for the weather?
songs.
No.
He's an Oklahoman. He knows what's better.
I feel like the
I doubt it.
off the stage riffraff that happens around him is too much.
That's what I was about
I
to
really
say.
do like his music too.
Oh my
Brian.
gosh,
Like, his music is fantastic.
I'm just looking at the weather now. I mean, I'm seeing rain, thunderstorms, or whatever, but I don't see tornado stuff. But like you're saying, like I love the dude's songs. Like behind Tyler Childers, because Tyler's the epicenter for me on that kind of music. He's just my favorite. His music is what introduced me to that style of music. So that's why I probably just love that. Mimi knows a lot of people. I'm sure that I would like other ones too. But then when I started listening to Zach Bryan's songs, I think of, and I know we hate this name, and when I say it, the building is probably going to shut down, but
Well, if it does, it does.
Taylor Swift, blah, 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 let's all cry. But first of all, I will say,
Other than the demons.
aside from the crazy part, there may not be anyone else more talented than her on the planet when it comes to the arrangement of words in songs that are still catchy, because she does most of that work, and she's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So you got to respect that, even though she sucks at things. I respect when people can do things that are so good that you just can't deny it. And in the music world, you guys may know this, there is a lot of fake. I mean, most singers don't write their stuff. Someone else writes it. Ghostwriters write it. And then better looking, better singing, promotable people then sing the songs, which is
It's a business.
no big deal.
Do what you gotta do.
She doesn't.
Yeah, she writes.
And
everything.
crazy part about her is like her songs are about like things in her life, so that's even more vulnerable. It's kind of fun to try to figure out what she's talking about. Well, when I started listening
Is it fun?
well, when you hear it's like,
I looked up the lyrics. I'm like, yeah, it's a really broken
but when
person.
the people can put it
Congratulations.
She got some crap going
And
on.
we're all celebrating the fact that she might like do something really terrible or.
But what
like,
I will
stalk
say
a
about
boy
that
or,
though,
like laying
she's
a
being
puddle of
honest
tears.
though. I'll give her that. When these rappers are writing, I mean, Eminem, what's he been writing about for the last 15 years? His life. So I like the vulnerability
That's real.
about it.
That's
Well, I
real.
think that's what gets people to connect to it is because you're going to find people in the seasons and it's relatable, right?
It's an outlet.
Yeah.
It's an outlet. So when I hear Zach Bryan's songs, now I don't know this about him as much, but I've been told that he does most of his own work as well. So when you start to listen to his songs and know that he's writing that, I think that's cool. He may be in a hot tub on about 15 whiskeys when he does it, but it comes out of him somehow.
But I think that's what's jacked, right? Everybody needs to use their own moral compass when they listen to lyrics, whether you should support or go see an artist, right? However, they're an artist. And since everything got like ultra political about everything, like media and big money's paying for politics to literally invade every area of life, which we should give that the middle finger and push back. Like football needs to be about football, basketball, singing. Let a good singer be a singer. We were talking about this before we went live. Like I didn't ask to see Tiger Woods, he was on pills and got a DUI,
Yeah, his DUI,
right?
yeah.
But you're shoving that in 100 million people's faces, and people are like mocking or getting off on it, and it's funny until it happens to you, right? But you're just stirring up people mocking being entertained by somebody else's pain and somebody else's addiction they can't get out of. Yeah, and it's just so let people be like, let Tiger Woods be good at golf, like leave the dude alone.
Right.
Same with the artist.
Well, and don't expect him to be something outside of golf that he is not. Don't expect that from him, and that's where people fall from the pedestal. Is don't expect something outside of his realm of expertise. But I will say, my last comment on Zach Bryan, his version of "You Are My Sunshine" is unbelievable.
He's
It's
an
so
incredible
good.
artist.
It's so good.
But like I said, all the other stuff, like nobody asked to know any of that.
Yeah.
You should still be able to go if you can agree with the person's lyrics, which I have something to say on that. But you should be able to go and enjoy what they do really well, that they put a lot of time and effort into, right?
Would
And a lot of
agree.
money.
Yeah,
And so
would agree.
But the lyrics part, I remember the day I was like in my 30s, like maybe 30, that I started actually like hearing some of the songs from my teenage years and like listening to the lyrics. It was
You're
sad.
like, oh gosh.
I was like, I've been singing this forever, and it's what we do. We're just in a happy place. I didn't know what half of the words were. You start listening to them, and now you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
It's almost like
wasn't
these,
great.
these kind of people are almost just writing their journals out and singing it to people, which is an interesting concept. Speaking of music, Easy's playing tonight in the annual Leon Russell tribute. Have you guys heard of that?
Let's go.
Easy's been invited to play in that the last couple of years at the Canes tonight because of the crowd size that they expect to have. Multiple people playing this last year. Isaac Hansen got up and sang a few things. So they'll have people come in town and people that are already here get up and sing in this thing. So it's really good. The display of music and talent that I saw last year in the same event was off the charts. I mean, it was the kind of thing to where you would have to pay $50 to $60 a ticket just to see one or two of the people
Right.
in this arrangement. So it's a real big honor for Easy to get asked to play and stuff like this. They did big hype videos for it the last couple weeks.
Come on, Easy. That's
So
awesome,
it's a really
man.
big deal for him.
So yeah, our friend Easy, if you don't know him or know anything about it, when Bryan brings it up, like he plays the piano like it's a part of his arm, like it's beautiful, and he can play with anybody, and he plays with a level of musicians that they don't need to practice. They just come together, they have whoever's taking lead, and they all play together. And for me, I didn't grow up band or I enjoy music, but know anything about it. I've been invited out. Bryan, what's the little? Is it Mercury?
Mercury
I've
Lounge.
Very historic place.
I'd never been there before for music. Well, Easy's playing these different places, and I go down there, hole in the wall Wednesday night, and heard, because I've been to a ton of concerts in person, some of the best vocals over the last like 2 months of these little artists popping in and out during their dead season, and just
Merc's pretty
cranking.
cool, man.
Well,
The
there's
Merc
some
is cool.
really big talent that comes through.
Yeah.
And so it's intimate too. It's
Super
not.
historical place.
Does it bother you guys? Like concerts are fine, but be okay in the bigger places.
Like 'em anymore.
I go in and there's so much volume that I can't hear the vocalists.
Yeah, I saw Need to Breathe at the Tulsa Theater a couple weeks ago. Which, speaking of Hanson, I saw Taylor Hanson there, and I was like, "You're like famous. Like, what are you here doing?" But
enjoying it.
Need to Breathe. Like, I hadn't been to the Tulsa Theater in probably 15 or more years. Super cool space. Super cool space. It's like small, the old Brady. The old Brady. For
Well, the night we
the
were
old
at
heads.
Mercury that Kellen's talking about,
Yeah.
there's probably, we go to see a specific person play there that night. I believe it was Jolene who was singing The Country Girl.
Yeah,
I think it was
really
her.
good.
Super good. Ethan Hawke saw her the other night when Easy was there and was like, this is one of the best things I've ever heard. What an opportunity for that young girl to be seen by Ethan Hawke out at 10:30 at night at the Mercury.
It was so good that she started singing, and Bryan and I were in the back, circled up with somebody else, and we all quit talking. Like it was, and you can hear the vocal, and it's raw, and there's a little bit of the band behind them, but it's not overwhelming. It's not like a giant concert where I feel like you miss things.
Well, that's the cool thing about knowing a musician like Easy and being in our personal friend group is some people might take it for granted, but he's literally seen by the music community as like the best keyboard player in town, if not further apart than that geographically. And so when you're at places like that, which you wouldn't really be all that much, you think, oh, it's a hole in the wall bar. It's weird. Really, nothing weird's going on there. There's maybe 15 to 18 people in the room, 10:30 at night, and they're now just starting to jam like they're in someone's garage. And Isaac goes up and sings a song. I mean, if you're not a Hanson fan, fine, but also how long has these guys been making music that people still want to hear? What, 25, 30 years now?
I mean,
Super
let's see
talented.
when Umbop came out, because that was like their big first
And sold 1 trillion copies
whatever,
of it,
and it
probably.
still played
it.
all over the top.
So it's
all
it's
over the
kind
world
of
there.
a gift to get to see something that most people would stand in line to see
So
for free.
For free.
Umbop was released March 24th of 97,
God.
which means it's going to be 30 next year.
So
I'm not that much older than that.
Well, then I think about
Like,
being
so that's like my
friends-
whole life.
Well, being friends with Easy, like I would have never ran down to the Mercury on a random night ever, just for the same reasons as you, Kellen. I mean, it's not like I think it's bad or I'm going to judge anyone for it. It just never would have entered my mind. But that's where a lot of live music in Tulsa happens, is the Mercury Lounge. Whether there's 2 people or 55 people, but it's never like a humongous crowd so much that it's annoying. It's a weird kind of crowd sometimes. I don't know though. If you're a music head though, it's exactly what you expect.
It's exactly what you expect.
Well, it's exactly where you want to be if you're a music head, because it's like cool. Like there's no pressure.
See the people. We seen Evan Felker, sober Evan from Turnpike Troubadours. I
Oh,
was
wow.
this far from him, like where you're at.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they show up there.
Wait, it was last year, and it was the most incredible thing I've ever heard in my life.
There's somebody that rolled through. We heard him twice again the other night, but he was there that same night, Bryan, and everybody kind of takes his lead. Shorter vocalist, right? Came up and just smokes it.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Well, Caitlin Buzz.
Yeah.
Mimi hates her. But like these people write their own stuff. They write from real.
That's cool.
I mean, everything he writes is from here.
Yeah,
So-
the moral of that is get a friend that's really good at music. Or
So I want to.
don't isolate your friend group to people just like you.
I kind of want to transition into our topic with something you guys already said a while ago.
What is our topic?
But
Yeah, what are we
But-
talking
What are we
about
talking
today?
B
I kind of want to stay on the comfort pillow thing. Like I think we can go a long way with that.
BUT, but I also want to thank everyone for listening to Get Canceled podcast. We are on all of your favorite download streamers. My favorite is iTunes. You can get us on any of them, though. iTunes, iHeart, Spotify. The reviews have been amazing. We thank you for the reviews and the feedback. If you go to the top of the podcast after you follow it, of course, so that you get all the downloads, hit the green buttons, and you can give us a review. We would love 5 stars. If you're going to give us 1, just skip it. But again, thank you for all the
Rainbow
referrals.
hearts,
If
rainbow
also, if you just hit share on that, you can copy that link and put it on your social media. So we really appreciate it over here at the Get Canceled podcast. I want to talk about Tiger Woods a little bit because you guys said it, and I believe it blends pretty well with something Kellen and I touched just a little bit last night. And I want to get very relatable about this topic because I think everyone can connect to it pretty well. But, you know, you guys mentioned Tiger Woods a while ago. My first comment on Tiger Woods, aside from you being right about what you said, Thad, on what you said, is also,
From what you said.
if I had anywhere near $1 billion, I probably wouldn't drive anywhere. I'd have a driver on salary.
I just had this conversation with
On
my buddies.
salary.
I just had
Like,
it
if
with
we
my
don't
buddies
go
this
anywhere
morning.
for a month, so what? The guy's ready. He gets
He's hanging
paid
out.
$250,000 to be on, just ready. If I want to go to Subway, he's ready. If I want to go anywhere, he's ready. If I want to lay here for the next 72 business days, he is also ready to do that, and probably happy to do that for Tiger Woods. So I'm weirded out about that. But
I think $250,000 is a lot for a driver. I think for I don't know.
if you're
'cause I'm
worth
not
a
rich.
billy,
I'm not
Well,
rich, but maybe the
that's
person's a security
that's a
guard and a
deduction,
driver.
dude.
I think you get a
that's a
2-1.
deduction. That's a tax.
mean,
that's payroll.
I think
mean-
you could have somebody that can handle security and drive a car for that price.
I mean,
And there's
he
nothing
probably
wrong with
could
that.
Stack it
I just
up.
think.
But I
think
just had this conversation with my friends of why are professional athletes driving their cars ever? Like they are doing the dumbest stuff. It's like, hey, I just got my Supermax contract. Let's go ruin my life
Because
by
they
driving 150 on the highway.
because they have cars that go 150 miles an hour. Easy.
Why are they driving them?
Have
Get
you
a
seen-
friend. Pay
Have you seen a
somebody to
16-year-old
drive.
boy get a car? That's the same as when the guy cuts a $250,000 check for
I
a car
understand.
that goes
I have
200.
had plenty of cars in my life, but I'm
Like
also
velvet.
you have all world talent at your profession.
It's senseless.
You make a lot of money.
Literally insured. For
Your-
$500,000 on your body.
Your contract, cool. You're making, let's say, $20 million a year. Can you cut somebody $100,000 and say, drive my vehicle at all times? I'm going to set you up with a room in my home. You can live here for free. I'm paying you $100,000. Can we not do that? Can we not do it?
Also, if Paul Walker and Vin Diesel got away with this for 8 movies, I do not understand why these guys
That's a
can't
really
do
good
it.
transition.
I mean, these dudes have been street
Unbelievable
racing for
transition.
8 movies, dude.
Hey,
Unbelievable.
And that's before Paul died.
Before they went to Tokyo.
part of the problem, I don't like being driven around or even other people driving most of the time.
Dude, I love it.
I
so
like
can
to
play
be
on
in
my
control of the car. Well, yeah, I know that. And then when Thad plays with his phone about kills us all coming back from Oklahoma City in your vehicle.
No one died. No one died.
Dude, you came within 1/2 of an inch.
Of the
half an
barrier.
inch of the barrier at 85 miles an hour.
And no one died.
You were just looking down.
And no one
It's
died.
fine.
No one died.
So-
no one died.
I was like,
But
you're not
my-
allowed to act like Bryan while you drive.
My topic was this, though, and this one can get a little bit... It can get a little bit squishy, I think, because when people
Let's squish you.
start to talk about this, you can find out really fast who's going to, fake it, right? And so I was saying this last night to someone as we were listening to Easy Play last night at a place. I said, I feel like that when I make mistakes, I don't love talking about it, but when I have to, you kind of do. And it brought up this conversation with you guys, and I don't know who said it, Kellen, but we start, no. Easy posed this question, right? He said, what's the difference between premeditated
Yeah.
and making a mistake?
Yeah, the difference between I'm gonna go watch porn and masturbate at 5 o'clock on Friday, or go get hammered at 5 o'clock on Friday, and it's 8 a.m. versus getting out, having a couple drinks, and doing something that I don't like, that I've done before, that I don't want to do, and sitting in shame. Is there a difference?
Well, in premeditation to me, and again, I don't know that as people are listening to this, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of comments and opinions on this topic because it is one of those types of topics to where you want to get into it some. But I think about it, premeditating to me is going to be something you're thinking about constantly, and you're almost deciding at some point soon, I'm going to do that thing. A mistake to me would be maybe putting yourself in a dumb situation, going along with some temptations you have or some weaknesses you have, and then all of a sudden being faced in the moment with an opportunity to do the thing that you shouldn't, and you make the wrong decision. That's the difference to me. So you go all day and all night, and then you put yourself in bad position, and you end up making the mistake. You didn't really decide you were going to do it earlier. Premeditating to me is you might hone in on this thing for hours or even
you
a
have
couple
a
of
plan
days
to do it.
and you're just looking for the opportunity to make that mistake.
Well, that's alignment with the behavior. Premeditation is aligning with that behavior.
It's like you're negotiating with yourself on why you can go ahead and do this versus the I'm really not going to work. I'm working on not doing this thing, and then you don't for a while, and then all of a sudden a couple of bad decisions lead you to being faced in the moment with it, and you decide wrong. See, I don't think you premeditated that. I think I just got faced with the thing that I have a hard time saying no to, and I did it, versus planning on how to do it. And those two could merge together for a lot of people too, guys. I don't know.
Quick question: that if we have both, and we have two people, and one slips into something in a moment of weakness, the other one's aligned with a behavior, what's more detrimental for the person? Is premeditation more detrimental for the person, or is the moment of weakness that continues to happen?
Well, I think when I think about premeditating, and this is just us being real here, and you guys feel free to be as real as you want to be. I feel like most of the mistakes that I make are premeditated, at least from the position of, and I think people are stupid when they don't admit this, but at least from the position of, I think that when I've decided I don't want to do something, I personally function at a level with my personality, and I think these all matter. My personality, maybe your level of intellect, whether it's street smarts or book smarts, which I'm not a book smart person, by the way. I would feel like I'm more of a street smarts person, and what that means is I'm really good at sponging everything happening around me all the time. So I'm learning in the moment how to be, what to do. And this happens in business or in any other area of your life, where a lot of people don't learn that way. A lot of people learn in a very process-oriented way, and they have to step. I don't. I feel like I'm learning all the time. You know, I'm sponging. That's a street smarts kind of guy. But book smarts is not me. I'm not a natural as it comes up. We've got a friend we talk about, a girl that we're friends with, that I bet her IQ's 1,000,000. And how you can tell is her eclectic personality, and her jokes are almost never understood by people. But if you understand them, they're hilarious. And that's because of the intellect. The IQ is just so high, that when they talk about, it's, you know who I'm talking about right now, I think, because we were talking about her last night. It's a weird smart. That's not me. I'm going to be different. So when I think about premeditation, to me, I would be kind of a liar to be like, yeah, it just happened upon me and I did it. I think that's dumb. I think that I have enough smarts and wits about me to know, I know when I start to put myself in this position and that one that we were talking about earlier, where some people might mistakenly get there, I feel like sometimes I get there on purpose, knowing that at the end of that, the option to do X, Y, Z will be presented. Yeah. To me, that's still premeditation. To me. Now, I'm not deciding right now that I'm going to do that thing at the end of the rainbow. But what I am doing is saying, I don't mind putting myself in position.
You're positioning yourself, which is premeditation.
To see if it becomes available.
Yeah, I mean...
And then if I get through the night and whatever the thing is that you struggle with doesn't happen, well, you're good.
Cool, but...
You're good. You flipped a coin, you won this one, but almost still you kind of did it. And here's why. Because you were ready to get engaged in it if it presented itself.
Well, I think that brings up something else that's really important, you know, and this is just to guys, because I think on the other side of it too, when you have, in any mistakes, but we're going to talk about guys, when guys make these different mistakes, they fall into these different habits or addictions that are detrimental. The crappy thing is it doesn't just hurt us, right? Our decisions hurt other people. And so it'd be interesting, we're going to talk about, like, from the opposite view of the person that's finding out about things, or that finds out about something of a moment of weakness or premeditation. Does it hit them differently? But I think a lot of things, what you're talking about, Bryan, is there something deeper running, which we've talked about this in the past, but a lot of things are setting yourself up for failure because you've already aligned with other things that you've justified to get you closer to that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so even if it wasn't, like, you know, they talk about premeditated murder, right? Even if it wasn't like, I'm going to have this tool do this and do this at this time, you are, and what you're saying is you've got some agreements of alignments in other areas that bring you to moments that are going to allow for weakness. And a lot of us do that. And that's what you hear a lot of sermons of if a pastor or a great leadership speaker talks about how to not fail in certain areas. They're going to say, set a boundary way over here. Like this extravagant thing over here.
Before you even get close.
Other than like the one-offs and it's still not the one-offs. Like, hear me on this. You go out with 5 friends and get plastered drunk and flip your car over, right? Okay, it was the 5 friends. Yeah. You already decided to hang out with people that do really dumb things and indulge in things that you should stay away from, right?
Yeah, you've got to. I just think when it comes to premeditation versus honestly and not innocently, that's a bad word for it, but in that realm, like you didn't really want to do it. You didn't think about it all day. But here we are. It's in the moment. You're being faced with it and you fail. I give that person on this topic anyway a little more grace only because of course they shouldn't get themselves in that situation, but if they weren't working towards it with an intentional behavior or pattern to get there, that to me is going to sound a little bit more like a mistake. That's a lot more of a mistake than completely strategizing getting into a place to where you're going to be faced with it.
Right.
Because we do that as people, as humans. At least this is why I would do it probably, is because I know at some stage in that process I can kind of justify it a little bit. Well, I wasn't trying to do that. Well, dude, you were trying to put yourself in position to make it available. So that's where I'm kind of getting to where when I talk to guys about that, if we're not going to be real about it, you're probably not going to move the needle with people much. Because if all they hear is that you never do anything wrong and it's because you're so awesome at, protecting yourself and all this, I think that's great for people. But sometimes when people go overboard with that conversation a little bit, then I wonder about them too. I'm like, what are you really protecting there, bro? It's like the people on Facebook that have to compliment each other's partners every day. I'm like, why does that need to be for the whole world 4 days a week? Are you overcompensating for not doing it in the place that really matters? Or what? Because that always looks funny to me. Every once in a while, I get that. But have you guys ever seen the cringy ones to where it's like every day? And I'm like, did you cheat or something, bro? Because this seems like a lot. That's what it seems to me like when people... We've got a guy that... I don't want to say his name, but it would get too weird, but... Of course we can't say his name.
Is it weird because you say his name or you say his name while you're hugging a pillow?
Oh, I just love this freaking pillow, to be honest. And really any pillow
You
these
see it
days
now,
for
right?
that matter.
Now, I get merge pillows.
This is like a... It's like
stand there
a...
and squeeze my face while you
Well,
talk.
hey, first of all, you mess with stuff and you eat paper.
Yeah.
So you guys need to calm down. I'm holding a pillow like it's a person.
Brian's
It's keeping me
Brian's
warm.
like back against the wall. I got the knife now.
Just start swinging. Back me in a corner.
He started
Back
wearing somewhat normal jeans, so I've got to kind of shift.
I do like those shoes though.
God, I dare you guys to back me in the corner. I will swing at you and your moms.
So here's, when we talk about getting into these things, whether it be like, and so Tiger Woods, so it was pills, right? And
I didn't read the whole story, was it?
Yeah, he's
He
on.
didn't want to take a blood draw.
When he had a couple pills in his pocket.
And go to sleep.
But again, when we get into this stuff and we talk about, okay, you're in it, what's freedom? When I'm allowed to justify or argue why this is a one-time thing or whatever, like I'm on that position, I'm not going to change my action whatsoever moving forward because I'm not being honest or vulnerable. And like, I think the point of all of it is like, dude, there's a huge mess up. It may hurt a lot of people. Don't do it again. And so like, that's what freedom looks like when we run it through men's ministry is this authentic vulnerability and saying out loud, which I will give you with like all the kids and all the seasons and all the stuff and any mess up as you're going through any area of your life. And Bryan, half the time it's you recounting something from years ago that you did that you still don't love, then you are honest about it. And so that's again, it's a point of freedom. So from that point with anybody, then you have to have people that love you enough to not let you justify anything. Hey, you're justifying, it's already wrong. If you have a need to justify something, you're already wrong.
Well, and if we're going to be truly real and authentic in these situations at times, then, to say what you just said, yeah, I do try to be honest, but I will admit sometimes I'm not honest unless I'm asked. Now, that doesn't mean I'm like lying to someone about it. I'm just not bringing it up. Mm-hmm. But if we know what we know, there is, as we grow or trying to grow, either progressing or regressing, which I think we do both. If you're not bringing it up, but also not looking for an opportunity to bring it up, those are still similar. And I would be guilty of that at times. Now, sometimes it's because it's intelligent and wise to have guards up with certain people. Not everyone needs to know everything. I posted something yesterday that said, not every demon needs your attention. I don't think that everyone needs to know everything for you to be transparent, because sometimes people aren't going to be safe enough to handle the information that you're sharing with them. So wisdom's important. And so I think that it is important that you do need to have a process of bringing it up to the right safe people so that you can work through why you ended up there and what you did so that you can try not to repeat it. So I would be guilty of that sometimes because of anyone else. You feel guilty or shameful or whatever it is. I mean, I'll admit that. I mean, you almost can't not admit it, guys. If we're going to be talking on the airwaves, about stuff like this, it's really kind of stupid to act like you're not susceptible.
Yeah, I think the challenge though too is you said bring it up to safe people. There are people that are severely wounded, and those wounds are a lot deeper than the habit or addiction that they're in. But that habit or addiction are happening, and I've seen a lot of people get stuck in this too. Is it makes them feel better to have a couple drinks usually and say it all, but then they keep doing it. Like they keep saying it all out loud to everybody just because they're chasing that feeling of freedom, and it's temporary because they're actually not going to do any of the work or invite the right people in afterwards.
But you feel like you cleared your conscience a little bit.
But the reality of it, just like justification, saying it that way means justification's selfish. So is that. Is I'm going to use this group, this audience, to spew stuff out because it makes me feel better about it. I've cleared it. Now I'm going to wait and use another group of people, and that's not going. That's just going to. It's rinse and repeat the same habit.
Well, and you want to be careful about that, like you're saying. I know there are some people that I've known or do know at times that feel offended if they can't know certain things all the time. And, sorry. Sorry. You shouldn't know. That the information or things that happen with people no one owes anyone any amount of information. I don't believe it changes the fact that you're friends, too. I think if you are really, really good friends, you understand that that information's not for everybody. I don't feel offended if someone doesn't share something with me that they feel like guarded about. It doesn't change my friendship with them. I think a lot of times people do that because they're just trying to understand who needs to hear this. It doesn't make that they're hiding stuff all the time, because based on that logic, if you don't tell everyone you're hiding stuff.
Well,
but I go back to safe people.
Yeah.
There, like if you have your 5, let's just call it your 5 safest people in your life, mentors, role models, your kind of inner circle in terms of friends. Now, if you're holding stuff back from them that's, preventing you from growing, preventing you from healing, preventing you from, facing whatever problems you have going on in that space, that's probably wrong, because those are your safe people.
Right.
Now, not
Also guilty.
not everybody's safe people. Let's just say that. I mean, the world is hurtful.
Probably
and the world
less safe people than
way less safe. Way more unsafe people than safe people. But like, you're not required for you, Bryan, you're not required as the boss to tell all of your employees what's going on all the time.
Nor is it healthy.
Correct.
So,
but if you have your safe people, I would say try your best to be as transparent as possible. And that's hard, because if you're as transparent as possible, you're probably going to hurt somebody.
And it's hard when emotions enter the room. I mean, so you need some mentoring in this. Like, if you're going through something, and God, be nice to understand what a safe person is, and then say this to the right person. An easy way to define a safe person is somebody that is available to be present to hear what you have to say, and they have your best interest in mind. They're not selfishly going to do anything with that information. Now, saying that, what do you have to say? What's their life experience? That's why you can still have, employees. You can have safe people on a team, but you're running a company. That's not who you can take this information to.
Right.
Because you're leading them. And so you need somebody that's a peer above. We do that a lot in the men's ministry too. Is one of the ways that we define it is, hey, you're peer to peer, or this is up, right? And there's certain things that we walk through in scenarios that you don't even tell the guy across from you. You need to go up the ladder with it, right? And so, and then a lot of times too, that has to do with people that have lived more life than you, that have already gone through it. But if you go down the ladder, you're actually producing some trauma.
Well, and you're almost like in terms of down the ladder, that's a great picture. You're producing trauma in those people that they haven't experienced yet because they aren't at that stage of life that you're in. And it's like, dang, we don't need to be causing trauma for people by oversharing our stuff. And I think in a future episode, and I've been saying this for a while, we need to
Talk about the people that need
talk
to be in
about
your life.
the people that need to be in your life. Talk about the safe people. Talk about how you find them, where to look for them, and, you know, what qualities they should bring to your life, whether that's mentorship, whether that's leadership, whether that's, you
I'm
know,
looking through
just
some
a
of
safe
the-
ear to talk to that has your best interest in mind, but isn't afraid to say you're in the wrong.
Along those lines, guys, I've obviously got my phone here. I'm usually looking at some of the text comments. A lot of times it's just I'll get a text or there will be some feedback on there, and generally those are just comments. But someone had posed the question to me and you're kind of already tapping on it a little bit there, Thad, which is why I thought it was a good break point. And they're asking, how can you identify a safe person when you're talking about pretty sensitive information? Like, let's say someone did want to admit like a porn addiction or something like that. How can they define what a safe person is with that kind of information? Because you got to think, we're not just simply talking about a subject that you just maybe get in a process and you try to stop doing. It could have some domino effects if people heard that or knew it. So if you're going to expose that, I think the question here is they didn't use, I gave that example, but sensitive. They said sensitive information.
Which porn and stuff would be,
Yeah.
or adultery in a marriage, or whatever that they're, because that person, like, why is the person asking? Because they may want to do the right things about it now.
Well, they're looking, how can I identify a safe person? And so I'll give you guys a little more context on this. The person wouldn't have a really deep spiritual experience. They also wouldn't have maybe a church home specifically.
Yeah.
So they're already kind of having to look farther out. Because if you're in those two environments, you're a little bit of a head start maybe on a resource there.
Well, but like somebody that won't share anything. So you know somebody well enough that you know the information's not going to leave.
Keep it quiet.
Well, but we already like, and then what do you need in a person? Are you needing to just get this out because you've never said it, which you're holding it? That's cancer inside your body.
Almost the priest effect.
Or you need guidance. So that's two different ones. Like I can go to Thad, you're younger than me,
I am.
and we know each other well enough. Like I do this massive thing at work, right? You don't work with me. I've done some stupid stuff. I mismanaged some money. I'm overloaded with it. It was wrong. I didn't mean to do it, and I did it. And it's just terrible. Let's say that's the scenario. I could go to you and say, man, I need somebody to talk to. Can I just get this out? And I could.
Yeah.
But I had a need to just tell somebody safe where the information wasn't going to leave so I can start processing it. But I'm not going to Thad, running a business, doing something wrong for then guidance. If I needed,
Yeah, because I'm not running a business. I'm not whatever.
If I needed, that's why I changed the scenario. If I needed guidance on it, it's a different person. And to somebody that's, and this is the world we live in, like everybody's on a freaking screen and you may not know who they are. And if you're not connected to people, you don't have anybody, you don't know it's not going to go somewhere. Honestly, counselors play a role there too, where I can go and for the first time, not only find a good counselor by reputation, share things and not hold on to them anymore, so I'm unburden myself somewhat, but you're dealing with a person that has spent years with tools, studying the mind, and has the knowledge and the tools to help you start getting some freedom and being held accountable, because you have to take some kind of action once you get that stuff out if you really want healing.
Well, so to capture that for the question is, you know, in that particular scenario, finding someone that could be a counselor, a counseling situation would be a really good place to start, because now you're going to get probably a little bit of both of the things you offered a while ago, Kellen, is you're going to get someone you can unload to, clear your conscience a little bit. I think clearing your conscience in the basic form is not a horrible start, because once your conscience is cleared, now the next right decision is, how do I make progression here? If you're only wanting to clear your conscience to feel a little bit better for next time, that's probably not turning out with any kind of impact or any kind of growth. You might feel better in the moment, but that's almost like not really being willing to repent of things. You know, repentance is this thing to where you're offering up this
thing you're doing wrong.
I want to stop doing this, but it's above my power. I'm gonna need help with it, but I'm at least willing to start the conversation around. I know it's wrong.
I want to turn away from it.
I admit it's wrong.
So I'll tell you.
The second thing they get though, Kellen, just to finish up on what you've offered there. Now you probably have put yourself in a place to get guidance, right? Because if you're in the counseling room now, if this person can't give you guidance, maybe you've got to find a different person. But I think you're in the right place to start.
Yeah. Well, and the right place to start for guidance. And what I was thinking of when you were finishing, I hear this in two places that it should never exist. And this is toxic for you forever. I hear it like my wife and daughter go get nails and hair done. In those places, not everybody, but there are many women that are getting all that stuff out. And then I hear it because I worked the bar scene for a long time. We're still there. You know how many bartenders that people act like they're their therapists?
They just sit and
2 or 3 drinks in, it's time to rip and let it go.
Hey, not even bartenders, hair people that just literally
sit there and chat for 2 hours, and it turns.
You know, like girl cuts me your hair for 45 minutes, hour, trims your beard, does all the things, and you like tell all the trauma of your life to, and you're like, what? Like might be a safe person that's not going to tell anybody else, but also is like definitely not going to give you the best advice.
And I'm not going to say that every hairdresser gossips. I'm not, because I think the reality of what happens if hairdressers allow that, they don't set boundaries and they allow all that stuff to happen.
It gets messy.
Well, it gets heavy.
Yeah.
And so they now have to speak some of it to somebody because they were never supposed to hold it. They're not qualified to hold it. They don't have the tools to release it. And so if it's a heavy enough stuff, they've got to tell somebody. So you already are going to somebody that's has been receiving this stuff all day. It's not qualified to hear it.
Well, who might literally just be like a transition point for her to tell somebody else that might come back and, onto you, like as a place of hurt. But that's why you need the strong people that have the brick wall back. And I'm going to say that because I just thought of it. The brick wall back it doesn't go anywhere. It just hits off the brick wall in the back of them and stays in the circle. And that might be a safe person. As a brick wall back.
That's why I think it's safer to get tattoos than go to a hairdresser.
Oh,
because your tattoo artist, you put like headphones in
for 6.5 hours.
Yeah, and I mean
they do not care.
He already knows what's happening.
Yeah, and if you're in for a 4 to 6 hour tattoo, I don't care who you are. By hour 4, like some of us are nuts enough that it even feels kind of cool for an hour. By hour 4, it does not feel good. And so you're on the phone. That's a good place to start just unloading. But that's why the old tattoo artists, they're great. They're skipping to their own tune.
They plug in.
They already know what's happening because they're putting it on your body.
Yeah, they're putting it on your body.
They're listening to their
tattoos, guys. They're giving tattoos. These guys have already kicked a few dominoes over. That's just a funny trait. I love it, and I'm not judging. But tell me one tattoo person you've ever met that hasn't, shaded the gray somewhere or broke some eggs. Yeah. James is awesome, and I love him. But when I see James, I think, man, he's got some experience in the world. I mean, this guy has done some things and seen some things. Think about tattoos. I'm the baby. I was telling one of our buddies, Jesse, the other day. He kind of said what you said.
You didn't pass out, did you? Did you hold a pillow?
No, they're using the most high potent numbing stuff ever.
You're using numbing cream.
Dude, I told James, I'm like, dude, if I'm going to sit here for 7
hours,
I need to be able to work.
Can we please give Bryan a pillow to hold while he gets his next one?
He sat for 8 hours. I'm kind of Team Bryan here. Like the 8 hours is a long time to just get scraped on.
It just gets ridiculous.
I don't disagree with an 8-hour tattoo though. Here's why. You don't have to go back twice.
Yeah.
That's annoying, and you don't have to do it twice. Like
I don't want to do it again. Yeah, but then
you're not.
Then you end up doing it again.
Yeah.
Well, no, we got the main parts done. I do got a little more, but now we're to the smaller but very much more painful part. So
Like
James was
under
like,
here?
"When are we gonna get done?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'll see you the next time I'm really depressed or
under
weird."
here,
Like,
because
I need
under
to get
here,
to a place in my mind to where like I give up.
under here
getting a
is
tattoo.
like fresh baby skin, and you're just like, I want to fight myself. I'm tired
Yeah,
of this.
it didn't feel good.
I got one. I know.
Oh, look at you.
It did not feel good.
I'm not looking. Well, he's got to cover up the rest of my Pamela Anderson tattoo, and so Lord, I'm not ready for
That's
that.
going to take hours.
I'm not ready. Well, it's just a barbed wire, on the bottom. We already covered up everything over here is all covered up because I had covered up the cover up. And James was recommended to me because he's one of the best cover up guys. Literally on the outside of my arm, he covered up and just as equally as a demonstrative tattoo that was there before, and you can't see it at all.
Hey, you
He's
know why?
really good.
That's amazing.
I know this is a weird tie-in. You know why you have to predetermine? Like, if you're going to predetermine something, who you're going to talk to about sensitive stuff, you can't trust yourself, like, with what's going on with your emotions. Because you're as dumb as the time when you were a high schooler and just knew that barbed wire around your ankle or your bicep was the best. It's the best decision of a lifetime. I've never seen anybody in their 30s or 40s like, man, I'm so glad I got this, like, worn down barbed wire tattoo.
Or like this
No clue why.
random tribal design. I'm white and from like the suburbs, and you're like, you ain't never been in a
Guys,
tribe.
That was
in your
that
life.
was a whole thing though. For like 10 years, for some reason, barbed wire represented toughness. It was like that's what it was seen as, and everybody
then
got barbed
Pamela
wire.
did it, and it went away. But I've got to say this: I also, during the same time in my life, had a sticker on my car that said "Bad Boys, Bad Toys." So here we are. Things are fine. I mean,
We need to
people
wrap
did
this
that.
up. This is off the rails now.
No fear T-shirts. I mean,
Affliction.
none of us were paying attention.
Let's
like
get
this is
it.
not going to age very well.
These are all the things Bryan needs safe people to tell.
And
And
here
see,
we
now,
are.
Now he has freedom, and
Think
here we
about
are.
this though, guys. The reason why we have the demeanor and the opinion that we have right now about these kind of cringiest, funny subjects. Think of this. Back then, when that was happening, there were no cell phones with pictures. There was no social media. There was no idea that I even need to think about how this is going to age or how this is going to look. Today, we sit here thinking about it, and you're crazy if you lie about this. And if you don't do it, you're stupid. Everything you say, do, take a picture of, and post, you should be running through the filter now that this will never die now.
Yep. This
So
is here forever.
it's a different filter now when we think about the mistakes. I mean, how many times do you hear people say, man, I'm so glad that, we didn't have cell phone cameras, our cameras back in the day.
I'm so glad they trashed MySpace and all that stuff's gone.
It changes the way you think about stuff, and if it doesn't, then there's a problem. Because I think now, do I still get the barbed wire today if it was a new thing? Maybe. Maybe I do, but maybe I don't.
But I think you get it wrapped around a bat like the old WWE. like
It's just something, yeah.
So I think when we talk about exposing this stuff, right? I think how it's exposed is really important too. Bryan, you said it really well. When you start to make an excuse or you start to justify when you're exposing something, you're not really getting freedom.
Right.
When you tell somebody, hey, I messed up, can I talk to you about it? Or I don't know. The best one with a lot of this, guys, if you want some real healing, is think through it and tell somebody, I don't know why I do this.
Tough place. That is.
You're being real with yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself first.
You're being real with yourself, and you definitely have to be in the circle
And
to be saying that.
And it's a selfish thing, but it's a lie. Like the person being hurt the most by justification or defensiveness over this stuff is you, because you're hurting yourself because you're not being truthful, right? You're going to fall back into the same action, but you won't face yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And there's nothing, like, if anybody's listening to this, there's nothing wrong with you. We get men together, and the biggest night of freedom that we have is right from the start, because we have some specific things we do. We have some specific stories, but we have every man do an activity. And through that activity, there's movement, but there's groups of movement around things that we've all misaligned or done wrong.
Yeah.
And we look around and like, holy crap, this keeps being about half the room, right? Yeah. And the biggest lie that we can accept when it comes to these addictions is that it has anything to do with who we are, that other people aren't going through it, and that there's something wrong with us, right? There is nothing wrong with you. There may be something running in you that needs the opportunity to be exposed so you can be fully as amazing as you were created to be. But we were all created with gifts and talents to do amazing things, and this stuff gets in the way. It derails things. And then the opposite effect, Brian, when we start off talking, and this was the heaviness to me, something premeditated versus a weakness over and over again. And there's layers to it that if somebody loves you, they call it. But if you really are in the same way, if you're really thinking through it in depth the way you'd have to get the freedom to say, I don't know why I do this, of I'm going to do this thing and this, you're hurting other people in a whole different way. Because when it all comes out and somebody figures out and you're honest that you thought through this and wanted to do it and planned it, it's terrible.
Well, let's kind of bring a wrap to it. Coming up on Easter weekend, which is so weird. I kind of know you guys realize that Easter is like all over the page. It can be anywhere from the end of March to like the end of April.
Yeah, Easter's like the most random calendar holiday.
Yeah.
But it's like, who's deciding it? Where are these weirdos and what room?
Thanksgiving is always the fourth Thursday. Christmas is always the 25th. Like St. Patrick's Day is the 17th.
Do you know where these people are though?
No, I have no idea.
It just shows up on our calendars whenever they want it to. So I'm weirded out by that. I had this dude at the gym I end up talking to now all the time. He's a really cool guy. He's just an older cat. Negative. He likes to stand there without his towel to talk to me about things. So I've got to do the old talk to him, like I got him in my peripherals a little bit.
Does he put his foot on the bench?
No, he doesn't do that, which is good.
Weird.
But the guy, he doesn't mean anything by it. I think he's just old school, like, we've been doing this forever and we're tough. And I'm like, dude, we've not been doing this forever.
Dude, we probably need to stop doing this.
He did explain the whole algorithm of how Easter works from like a grandpa's point of view. So I'm sure he's right. It was all the things, but I still looked, I'm like, I get it, dude, but where are those people? Who's doing it? Is the Jewish guy over there sending a text to the American calendar people, and then the American calendar people are updating our calendars on our phones? I just don't get it. But either way,
it's a big rabbit hole, by the way.
Either way, today is Good Friday.
If we do that, my boy comes on there.
Today is Good Friday, which is just a few days after April Fool's Day. So I'm going to share, before we kind of end it on a more serious note about what Easter's about, my favorite meme, and if you guys have one, tell me. I read it the other day, and this one came from that really smart person I was talking about who's just so dry, but this thing just killed me. I almost wrecked my car when I read it. I wasn't driving, of course. I was parked, but you can still wreck when you're parked.
He was driving.
This meme says this. It said, everything's going to be okay. And then below it said, April Fools. And I just thought that was freaking hilarious. It was just like gun in the mouth. Just hilarious. Like, everything's going to be okay. April Fools. Like, yeah, nothing's going to be okay. Everything sucks. It was so funny. But did you guys see any funny ones? No? I thought that was crazy good.
No, I had a massive breakdown on April Fools when my son got to the end of his day and realized he didn't have enough time to play a joke. And I was like, we'll do it on April 2nd. Nobody's going to expect it.
I mean, no one really got anything over on me except for maybe any of the things that have happened to me in the last week might have been part of April Fools on myself. But
you've had little glass duckies. They're like this big all over your office.
They're still over my house, too.
Corey's still right there.
Some of our friends... About what?
Natalie had the cops arrest her live on TikTok.
Oh, that's funny.
It was good.
That's funny.
That is
really good. It freaked Beth out bad.
Oh, my sister can still get bent.
We should have got
3 years ago. She called me and she's like, "I'm pregnant," and I didn't realize what day it was. And she had me going forever. And I was
get beat up.
Yes.
That sounds like no
just
fun.
Take one for April Fools.
Just a need in my chin? No.
And it just so happened there was an ambulance going by. This was years ago, and she called me and she was freaking out. She's like, "The ambulance is here. The kids are okay, but I've got to go to the emergency room." And I could hear the siren, and like she had me hook, line, and sinker the whole entire time.
Oh, my sister
like,
too.
I'm just
I'm like, hey, I was like, let's meet, let's talk. Don't think anything. So my sister 3 years ago said she was pregnant, and I didn't realize it was April 1st, and had me going for a while.
My mom believes all the April Fool's jokes. Pam doesn't listen to this, probably won't ever hear it, but she believes them all. Sent me a million things on Facebook. She's been in Japan for like 3 weeks with her friends and that live over there, and she's sending me all these things. Like, did you see this new menu item at Brahms? I was like, Mom, it is April 1st. They are not having dill pickle ice cream come out. Like, we need to chill on that.
Which I think might be awesome.
They've had
Yeah,
I don't know about that. Nah,
Somebody might
I love
have
pickle
it.
stuff, but I'm
Someone
not
gross
down.
might have it.
Yeah, I'm not down for that.
seller was dill pickle,
I'll tell you
ices.
what's gone viral.
Dill pickle ices is real, though. That's a good thing in the summer. Dill pickle ice cream, I'm not down for that. Like,
The cheese balls that are dill pickle.
whoa, those are good. Those are good. Don't come for us. Don't come for us on that.
I want to know what's in them. I don't want to know what's in them.
We don't know. It's generic.
So the only April Fool's joke that I even pulled, which was just really half
You seem
effort.
excited about it.
I told our friend group that Derek and Heather broke up, and Lord, a couple of them believed it. 2 or 3 days later, it was even Easy was one of them. We were sitting there talking, and I said, "Oh, I was talking to Derek, him and Heather on the way," and he goes, "I thought they broke up. Are they back together already?" I'm like, "You idiots!
You didn't
That
come,
was a joke."
You can come back and people in their people that are older than 30 breaking up is not like a news story. Everybody's going to believe it.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, "Why would you guys believe that?" Of course, Derek didn't break up. But on to the Easter thing, as we kind of wrap up, I like talking about this, but my biggest problem about talking about Easter is that I don't feel ever kind of worthy of sharing like the weight of that story. I always feel like it needs to be someone who's way better. But I do think it's important to talk for a minute about it, and I want to get your guys' feedback on it too. But my part of this is going to be, it was really cool yesterday. We get in the car. Legacy was going to be with me for a little bit yesterday. His mom had to do extra work time. Meemaw had a funeral, and so he was hanging out with me for a couple of hours, and it would have been after school. And so we get home, we grab some of his stuff. We're going to leave to come back here, and of course, I know y'all's kids probably do this too. We're about to pull out. I've got to poop. Okay. So we got to get you all back out and all this stuff. So I'm going to do it. No big deal. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, I don't like to poop at school because they don't wipe me or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I can relate to that. I didn't go at church camp all week for years because
That's a
ain't doing
legitimate
it there,
That's
so-
a legitimate.
But I get him in there. He gets done. I say, I'm saying all this just to give you guys a little bit of the backstory to how we got to this conversation is he goes to the bathroom, gets out of it. It's the bathroom, my laundry room, and he's done. I was like, well, crap, I got to pee too. So if we're doing this. So I go
If we're
pee real
doing this,
quick.
everybody's doing it.
Well, we're getting done. He's just standing there waiting on me. So essentially just looking at me. And I was like, so how was school? And he said it was good. And I said, you know what this weekend is, don't you? And he said, yeah, it's Easter. And I said, well, what do you think is going to happen on Easter? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, I think the Easter bunny comes or something like that. And I said, well, did you learn about Easter at school? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what is Easter all about for real aside the Easter bunny? And he said, well, it's really about, and this was cool because he's only 5. He goes, well, it's really about Jesus. And I said, yeah. I said, what happened? And he said, well, he died on the cross for our sins. I know that. And he goes, and this is what's funny because they're kind of repeating what they've learned, but they use the word wrong. He goes, he arose. And I said, he arose? And he said, yeah, he arose from being dead. And I said, yeah, that's right. I said, 3 days after he died on the cross for our sins, he arose. And I said, but how did he get out of there? And this was kind of cool. The moms know this, but some people don't know this. I tell the kids they all have an angel, right? We've always told our kids that. So we'll use say anything to get these kids to go to sleep, right? And I'm like, you don't have to worry about anything. Like I tell them sharks are in the pool. My kids never got in our pool and drowned because they were scared of sharks. And so me and the moms had to put the sharks up before they could get in. So to this day, they're pretty traumatized by this. So at least one of the moms was right that was going to be a stupid idea.
So you're winning in some areas and losing in others, guys.
They're all alive. So along the same lines, I always tell these kids, I was like, you have an angel. And I've been telling Legacy since he was breathing that the archangel Michael was his. And so he remembers that name all the time. He was there for his transplant. He was there for this. Keeps him safe, And he goes, I bet Michael opened up. Weird emotional. That grave, when I saw it, that's really cool for that kind of stuff to stick in their memory, for them to know about it. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to end with, what Easter's all about. I know everyone's going to get all the candy and the baskets and all those things, which is cool. I'm not one of those weirdos that's like, you can't celebrate these things. I just think it's really important that we're doing a good enough job ourselves and then putting him in position to get more of this information, which at his school, which is great, which is kind of the benefit of certain types of schools, that they get that, more information about it and they learn about it for a couple of hours on that day. So what is your guys' experience around Easter? What does it do for you when you think about it?
Well, I'll share Kenna. So I've got a daughter, and then I've got a son. So he and I talk in depth about it. I try to. They like funny videos at night, like fall videos. So we'll get some of those, but we talk about scripture for about 30 minutes. We go through a plan or different things. So it comes up, and just being her, like she's always been real deep. This year I got the opposite. She's like, well, God made me. He knows this is boring. Let's go to sleep. Just like, but that's where she's at 8.
Bye.
Right? Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Popped off.
But for me, I wrote this earlier because I was thinking about it, and we go through different seasons, but a lot of people have been through a lot of hard things. But I was thinking about Jesus in the complete work of the cross, because he lived before that, right? So there's a lot of the things he did while he was living that are super important as well. I put today's Good Friday, a day that changed everything. Jesus didn't just die on a cross. He lived the pain we all know. Betrayal from friends, and a little bit of what we were talking about today too when you talk through life. Rejection by those he grew up with, being misunderstood by the very people who were supposed to see who he truly was. One of his closest friends sold him out. He felt the raw grief of losing those he loved, and the weight of the world's sin pressed down on him. Every heartbreak, every failure, every burden you carry, he's walked that road. He did it willingly. Scripture says he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him. And by his wounds we're healed. That's in Isaiah, it's 53:5. The cross wasn't just a moment of suffering. It was a completion of his work. Because of it, we get things we don't deserve. That's forgiveness, freedom, and the love that covers our mess. That when we talk about God's grace, it's getting the things we don't deserve. Getting what you don't deserve, so we deserve death, is mercy, and that's what Jesus did on that cross too. It's not getting what you do. It's not getting what you do deserve. And on the cross, it was both of grace and mercy were fulfilled. Today, pause and let it sink in. Restoration where things were broken. Hope where things despair. Life where there was death, all for you. I mean, it needs to be personal as well. When I think about the cross, it was for you. It's for you to have a relationship back with the Lord. It was bold, real, and it was unearned. And that's the power of the cross. And then when I think about the victory that Jesus, sinless, so by the justice system, he does not deserve death. He defeated hell, death, and the grave, and then he rose on the third day. And that's in accordance with like scriptures they found, right? And more than that, Bryan, when we talk about repentance and we talk about the things we're dealing with, he's seated at the right hand of the Father now, that complete work, and he goes to the Father on your behalf. He's always available for us to go to for forgiveness and his power to say, I want to quit doing these things that I don't know why I do. And then with safe people, Thad, in that alignment, he'll connect you with those people. That's what he's done in my life. I mean, I went from like, you want to talk about, and a lot of people talk about sin. I was really good at it. And I had a lot of fun at it, but a lot of things blew up. It's like a pastor related it to a sneeze. Some things may feel good, but man, it leaves a big mess. And I was confronted with my mess at one point. And so God shows up and loves me in the middle of that, and it was overwhelming. And then he changed the heart. Well, the heart posture changing to unselfishness, I started helping people. And I will tell you, without a matter of fact, and you both know, but you really, look at who I'm surrounded by. Look at who I have access to that cares about me and the way that they would be there for me. God will provide all those things. You just have to submit first. And so that's what it means to me.
Man, that's a deep, a deep way to go. And I think about when you talk about people needing to hear that no matter what you heard at some church service a long time ago, no matter what your legalistic aunt told you or parent or whatever it was, is, hopefully their intentions weren't bad. Because I believe a lot of people don't have bad intentions. They're just regurgitating what they were told. And then they're in a system that they believe that. But I think that what you're trying to tell people is we all are susceptible to the things we talked about today, be it premeditated, be it complete mistake. I think we're all susceptible to both of those things at any given time. And what's really important is that while you want to find people, you want to be accountable, you want to do all the things we talked about. But I think initially it's important for people to understand that no matter what everyone's saying to you, no matter what's going on amongst the earthly opinions or man's, thoughts and feedback on it, is that the whole reason that we talk about the subject we're talking about is because early on in the Bible, there, and I believe it was your post that I saw, Kellen, sacrificing, way back in the day, sacrificing the animal was about this surrendering place to get to this forgiveness. It wasn't necessarily about, giving an animal to God. I mean, he's the producer of all things, the creator.
Right. Well, and that's where we get it wrong, right? Because when we say we're giving an animal God, we're saying the animal's ours, and it never was. It was always his, and it was unblemished. And so God was showing us, literally think about slitting an animal's throat. That's how big of a deal sin is in your life, because it separated you from me. And it also defines our worth. God's saying you're worth more, and I'm going to continue to give you what was mine. It was always temporary. But that's the fulfillment this weekend that we sit in, is the victory that Jesus had on the cross, because he died once and for all. And that's for everybody in the Old Testament that was a believer and close to the Lord, and that's for everybody Jesus' time and moving forward.
Ed?
I think since becoming a dad, Easter's become a lot heavier for me. My son sleeps half in his bed at night and half in my bed at night, and he's 4. He can do what he wants. He runs our house for the most part. But there's some mornings that I wake up, and I wake up a lot earlier than he does, and some days I just look at him and I'm like, I don't know how you're real. And I just think about Mary, and I'm gonna cry because I just think about my kids. But I think about Mary, like seeing her son do it for her and for everybody else. I'm like, dang. Like Mary, who sat there and watched Jesus grow up and watched his little hands play with stuff and his little feet run and his body do amazing things, and his little head, like, that she probably kissed thousands of times, just be broken for her and for everybody else. And it's like so heavy, because it's like, man, I don't even know how I would like respond in that situation. And so like Easter, it means a lot to me, but it just, to see your child get crushed is like unimaginable for me. But I think just to like think about Mary in that situation of like, I gave birth to that. That's my boy. And so it's heavy. I'm
Beautifully so.
Well, and what a powerful perspective, Thad, to think about the idea that, a lot of the Easter story is clearly based around Jesus and that sacrifice, rightfully so. But that perspective about Mary, who was completely human, as Jesus is, both. He experienced what we were, but still, I've got to believe in some way, shape, or form that he was kind of like a Superman, to where he's human sometimes, but then every once in a while he can do weird stuff if he needs to do it, which I completely believe that Superman and the whole story was derived off of the story of Jesus, and I won't be convinced otherwise, because it's like very similar. But I think about your perspective in that Mary's completely human. So she doesn't have this ability to understand what he's going to do as much as she's maybe going to get to find out about it. And so that's such a wild perspective to give, while she's like sacrificing before the sacrifice, which is really weird. And I think, as we end up today, letting people know kind of the thought process behind Easter is, especially for me, I'll tell you guys, just like you, make the mistakes, sometimes premeditated, sometimes not. But I also know that through the mistakes we make, that what becomes really important is that we try to find a place and a way to stop justifying where we're at to run away from what we know is true. And so I want to let everyone know what we really care about is that you understand that wherever you're at, whatever you're done, whatever you're doing right now, that Easter is a really cool story for you, because really the Easter story is for all of us that have been in that place, that go back to that place, that make a stop at that place every once in a while where you're doing something you think you shouldn't. You know, you need to understand shame is not from God. Shame comes from a different place. And so that shame is meant to distract you from the idea that this whole Easter celebration is about Jesus dying and rising for a risen, as Legacy would say, for
Rose.
all, for
like how he
all
says it
those
later.
things.
Rice in Spanish for rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those things. And, you know, no matter who you are or what you think about me or Kellen or Thad, you know, or Tiffany, who you can't see, is that we believe through the mistakes we make, have made, where we've come from, where we might go and come back from as the days go on in our future, that it's important for you to know that truth, that ultimately you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay in that perspective. There is a prayer that can be said. There are people there for you. And ultimately, we would love the idea that you could get a hold of that information. Because if it means, you know, for me to come on something like this, where we got to talk about it and be real and know that there's going to be haters and there's going to be critics and people who think they know things that don't, and I'll do it. You know, I don't really care what people think. I've been pretty loud and proud about the fact that, yeah, I'll tell you what I've done. I think it's stupid not to. But when I do that, I think that the passion that I have behind it is, it's not to brag about a wrongdoing. It's to say, I am human too. You know, what good do I have to hide from you? I got to be better at some stuff. And then sometimes, guys, I go on a pretty good run. You know, processes are in place. I'm doing good. My mindset's good. But then also, life takes over. Sometimes you get weak. You get in the mud. Some you're going to make some mistakes, and people need to know there is an answer.
Too much, too long on your own.
There is an answer to it. So, as we conclude here, we're going to have Kellen. Well, you know, you guys, we try to pray at the end of each session, but today I think today's prayer, Kellen, is in the assumption that there's at least one person listening or that will listen to today's episode that would find benefit in being maybe led in a salvation prayer. Yeah. So more of a style to be under the assumption someone is kind of answering that. And if you wouldn't mind leading that for whoever that might be as we end.
Yeah, so the heaviness, the mistakes, the attack on your identity, are you even valuable? Those are all familiar to all of us that sit here. And what we're sharing and the power in what Jesus Christ did is that the things that you can't clean up, he cleaned up for you. Because you couldn't walk in a way that didn't have any mistakes, he did, and then he laid it all down for you. Because you have a God that asked him to, because he loves you. He sent his son on your behalf because he wants you close, because your value and your identity, well, he loves you, but there's so much more than the things that you've done, and he frees you from those mistakes and then allows you to grow and walk through those things. And so Jesus is a free gift. He's the door back to God. He defeated hell, death, and the grave. He defeated sin because he was sinless. And so it doesn't have to rule or reign in your life anymore. God loves you too much to leave you where you're at. And when Bryan talks about a prayer, it's not the prayer that you're saying, it's what you're telling God, and it's your heart posture. And so if you try to do all this on your own, if you're incredibly heavy, man, even if you've said that, you know, God's in a part of my life, but you just know that he's not, because there's no relationship there, there's no change in you, and he will change your heart because he's changed ours. You just say something like this. You say, God, here's where I'm at. I've sinned. I'm doing these things, and I don't like it. And I want to invite you in because I want to turn from those things. And the best way I know how, I hand them to you. And then, God, because you know better, I've run my own life so long, I don't want to run it anymore. I want to give you authority as Lord of my life over every area of my life right now. I believe that Jesus Christ was sent here for me because you love me. I believe that he died on that cross and that he rose. He defeated hell, death, and the grave for me to have a relationship with you, and I want that relationship, God. I believe in Jesus, and I want that relationship with you, and that's the heart posture that you give to the Lord. And I pray that if you've been in a place and you're suffering like that, we'll put some resources there for you as well for next steps, but also for local churches, because there are broken people in every building you go to that don't have it right, but there are incredible pastors in the midst of all that, and there are incredible believers that love the Lord, that have had freedom, and they walked in that freedom for years. They want to know you. They want to walk with you. I promise, because I found it in my life. So we're going to put some of those resources there for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Amen.
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 Well,
Amen.
And if you do have any questions or any thoughts about what it is that you're doing further, please send the message, send a DM, get a hold of us in those ways so that we can talk about it. We want to tell everybody, obviously, happy Easter. We hope you're able to, be able to reflect on some of the things we talked about today, even offering a new perspective. Thad, in the way that he thinks about it, I think is a really good new way to really reflect on Easter, actually, Thad. So thank you for that perspective. I want to remind everybody that we are going to be on the Get Canceled podcast every week. We stream live on Facebook for your viewing pleasure. It also goes to YouTube, and it does hit iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and maybe any other streamers out there. So search us up, Get Canceled podcast. Go ahead and follow it. If you go to the dots at the top, click them, and you get the opportunity to share it. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you get the opportunity to give us 5 stars. And if you're not going to, don't give us any. Again, we appreciate you guys. Happy Easter. Have a great weekend. And don't forget to
Get canceled.